everyone. This is Danielle with the Motivity Podcast. I'm your host. Today, we're talking with PCs for People, and we have a great influence here. His name is Jonathan Fisher. He's a VP of Technology. He's going to talk us through some of their game-changing initiatives that they're doing to get PCs in the hands of kids. Also, how do you get internet to rural places, and how they're solving the world's biggest problems, which personally I think that's one of the biggest problems. But before we get into this and deep dive into what PCs for People are truly doing, and I'm probably not giving it as much credit as it should, Jonathan, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background, and then tell us, how did you get involved with this great organization? And it is considered a nonprofit, is that right? Just before
Yeah,
we
that's
go
right.
too far in our talk track.
Nope, that's right. You've got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Okay. So, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself first. And again, I'm Danielle. I'm going to be your host for today. So, thanks for being on
Yeah.
the show.
Thanks for having me, Danielle. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So my name's Jonathan. I'm the Vice President of Technology for PCs for People. I've started in the role about 3 months ago, so it's very exciting for me. I've been in nonprofit technology my entire career, and we are on a mission to make digital equity a reality, right? And what does that mean? And maybe we can get into a little bit of that. And how do you create a business model around, uh, serving underserved and low population or low income folks and communities and nonprofits, right? That's the big challenge, right? So, and we do this a number of ways, and we'll get into that. I started in a hospital system as an engineer with the cancer centers over. Based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so I
We're
was
both
part of.
TA based. Go
Yeah, both
Phillies.
TA.
Hopefully,
Well,
we'll be
I
okay.
don't know.
Maybe we might have to cut that out. But
I'm okay. I'm okay with the Phillies in the World Series right now, so
okay.
I will be
Okay.
cheering for the Phillies as a Pennsylvania a partner in this. So
No, I'm not going
that's
to go
good.
to football because that's way out. I just know certain stats right now, but I'm not going to say anything.
That's fair. That's all fair. So, um, but anyhow, so right. So I started with a large hospital system that's in Western Pennsylvania in their cancer centers and doing engineer work for them, project management, a bit of technology there, and then I had joined an organization called the ARM Institute, which is another nonprofit that came out of Carnegie Mellon University and the Department of Defense to help solve the issue of getting robotics and into the workforce and utilizing automation in sort of a grand scheme of the United States and it being part of the Department of Defense and manufacturing and asserting their what they're doing, in automation because we are, behind in that space. So I did that for 5 years, and that was a startup. I was the first techie in the door, and that got going. So about five years later, I joined PCs for People as their vice president of technology, and we have a what I call a very big mission and a lot of goals, and we're doing it all under a nonprofit, and it's
Which
nationwide.
makes it
And
harder than we know. Uh,
correct, we have 9 retail facilities in 6 different states, and we can talk more about how that digital equality is hoping to be made into a thing all across the United States and including our humble beginnings in 1998. So we've been around in the tech world for quite a while,
wow.
and yeah, so happy to get into that.
So, Jonathan, just talk to us a little bit about digital equality. Equality. What does that truly mean? I mean, I have my own definition,
Mm.
but what are you truly solving for? And do you feel like people are expecting to have a digital asset? And is the phone just not enough? Like, why do you feel like they need that PC level connection? What is it doing for that individual or that child? Where is that mission driven from?
Right. So again, we consider ourselves a nonprofit social enterprise, right? All the revenue that we get gets put back into the organization.
Yeah.
And really it's to get low cost quality computers and internet, right? And digital skills, right? That's the 3 legs of the stool, so to speak, into the home of individuals and families and nonprofits with that. So we work primarily, there are definitions of how we serve low income, and traditionally, if you're on any sort of government program, you automatically apply. We use what's called the ACP program, so the Affordability connection program with the government. And we kind of
Okay.
have an all-in-one system that you can go to sign in and sign up for that. We make it very easy so you can avoid some of the government barriers and go right through us. And we house that in our CRM, which is built exclusively for our organization. And by doing so, right, we're keeping computers out of landfills, right? There's a huge e-waste in this. So
How much
let's not forget.
is there? How much are we wasting? How much are we throwing out? Oh,
Quite a bit.
yeah.
So I can tell you from our organization and where we've gone from since our inception, I believe it's I want to say 9 million pounds we've been able to sort of get out
Amazing.
of the waste fills, yeah, out of
Yeah.
landfills. And we've served over 200,000, and we've given out 200,000 computers across all 50 states in the United States, including Puerto Rico as well. So we are trying to get a window of 4 hours where a truck can come, and and this goes into our business philosophy of how we get this business to work, because obviously giving out high quality, low cost computers and internet um, is not the most profitable business. But the way that we do this is that we offer an e-recycling for businesses, and we are NAID and AAA certified and R2 certified for certain sites for e-waste. So sanitization is a big part of our business, and we're able to come into a company such as yours and take full and transfer legally all of the hard drives, all of the computers, all of that equipment. And again, it doesn't have to be laptops and computers, it can be anything. And know that it's in our hands. We are doing the responsible thing of recycling it properly at no cost to the organization, and we can show where these machines are eventually going in the communities, hopefully that we have a presence in and that we can serve, and how that's impacting folks on, so that your 2 3 year old equipment that's usually very good still and has a lot of life left,
Well,
we
we don't
we
think it's
have
we think that's a tough computer, but you're right. It is
no
still a
and
viable computer that could be resold or reused. It's just that we're
you
running
know
a
hmm
multitude of programs on these computers, and obviously security and applications and platform, and they're running the computer. We're running these computers. Pretty hard, I would say. We're
and
running huge programs. Someone in maybe high school or middle school doesn't have to run the program level that we're running. Um,
Sure. And we are a Microsoft authorized reseller. So we put fresh copies of Windows and Office. We do work with Microsoft on doing that. So we're not just hitting the refresh button on these computers. I mean, we're really taking apart the drives. We have a sanitization process that's very secure that we can operate with government entities and HIPAA requirements and things like that. And while we wish we can provide this technology to everyone, we really do focus our efforts on and internet solutions and access for individuals who need it most. So for just a level set, right? That's if you're participating in a government-based assistance program,
yeah.
or you have a qualifying household income of less than 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, or 60% area median income of your area,
Uh,
you are eligible
for
to not only be a part of our what we're doing, but also using the ACP program. We're talking about free internet here, and again, how do you make money on that? But there is a government aspect for that program, for the ACP program, because we do put our internet at $15 a month, and that's for anybody that is within our coverage. So you don't have to be low income if we're serving that area. Although traditionally we're an ISP and we're building towers in those low income areas. We're not trying to
so I have a
compete with Comcast or Verizon. We're trying to serve the folks that need it most.
so I have a couple questions here. So security comes top of mind. So these corporations, right? We obviously we have a ton of computers at Cisco that we go through. Is it
Hmm.
the responsibility of the corporation to scrap that computer, right? To get all the data off, or you're saying to me that you guys will handle that part of the process? Like, do they just offload that to you? Here's the box. Here you go. So where does that fall? Who's responsible for cleaning that machine? I guess. And then
Right. So,
yeah. So maybe go
So
there for a second, because that would be okay. Well, I would love to do that, and I know that would come up. Like, I feel like that would
Mhm.
be one of the questions everyone asks in a meeting. Well, how do we get, what happens to our data? Where's our data? Are we cleaning that computer and then giving it to you? Like, how could we ensure, that our private information, is just not out there?
Right.
That would be my first question, Mr.
Yeah,
Technologist.
great question, and something that comes on most, and that was one of the first questions I asked, right? Was
Yeah.
was was how do we do this and how do we do it securely?
Yeah.
So let me just say, we know that data breaches cost companies on an average of around $4 million per instance, and that
To 8
80% of our
million.
customers for yeah, about 80% of our customers refuse to shop with companies again who compromise their data. So
Correct.
we need to have our brand and it to be trustworthy. So what we do is we provide that sanitization for every device. We use the standards around DoD, HIPAA, NIST 800-88.
Ah,
All that is compliant software, and we do that responsibly using the very strict NAID AAA certified process. So your data is actually those physical hard drives. The physicality of it is where that NAID AAA certification comes into play.
okay.
From the moment that our truck arrives and is in our warehouse being either completely sanitized or destroyed if we cannot do a full 7 flush of the drive and it being physically crushed in our facility is we have a camera on that at all times, and we have serial number tracking that's within
Wow,
our
that's
our
amazing.
CRM. Yeah, so we have to invest quite a bit of technology in making sure that all of this is secure and all of this is being done appropriately. So that's a high standard. And again, we also have R2 standards in a few of our facilities, and the R2 standard is environmentally responsible recycling. So not all, so the technology we can't use, or we deem that maybe the drive cannot be cleaned, and it needs to be recycled rather than refurbished, we will remove all usable parts, reuse that, and then the non-functional parts are broken into natural components and recycled independently, and that's all audited with a recycling partner as well. So all of this stuff is
Interesting.
documented, and we actually have a portal where these companies can log in and see exactly how, a lot of
That's
times just for
amazing.
organization side, it's nice to know you have a whole bucket, right? And there's these big pallets of just technology. And part of the deal is not only will we sanitize this, we'll kind of give you a full audit, right? We
Right. That's
have
what it
the
sounds
we have
like.
the
You're
people
telling
on
me.
the
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have the people on the ground pulling each individual a piece of technology out there. And then it also gives us a chance to stock our warehouses with not only the computers, but the workers. I mean, I think we have around 50% minority workers in our
That's
organization,
amazing.
which is a big deal. And we also work very closely with those, with folks that have disabilities as well. And we find that they're, those groups work really well with us, and we have an opportunity to employ these folks, and all folks really, for what we're
Yeah.
doing, and we want to provide that for the community.
It's amazing mission. And, having digital, assets, or even having, more of a computer to be accessible, I think is just so important, right? I think every child should have a computer at some point in their life. And when we say child, I think a kid or someone in high school, like, right, no one should be limited to. My son bring home, he's 7, he already has a Chromebook. I don't know if he really knows all the functionality of that Chromebook, and
Hmm.
part of me is like, I probably need to teach him more about it. But I think every kid should have access, just like my son, right? There's no difference. They're all in school. They all need to learn. They all need to get educated. And I think we're living in such a digital world. The more we're teaching them and learning that there's digital assets, information, and I just think it really is. It's going to be amazing to see what happens, these individuals as they get to the workforce. You talked about, though, free internet, and what came to mind, I just want to pivot for a minute with this mission,
Hmm.
is that if you're saying that I could get free internet, does that mean like my whole house gets free internet? Do my devices get free internet? Like, what does that look like? And why is it so tough to have free internet? And at Cisco, also, this is a mission of ours. We said that, you shouldn't just have to pay for internet. You shouldn't have, and we say pay. Kids should be able to do their work, log on to a program, and there should be no barriers. But there are barriers. Unfortunately, we're still dealing with this in rural areas. I mean, I could go into why does my cell phone drop a minute from my house? besides the point. But what makes it so tough, right? That they can't have the internet. Why is that? And could they use the internet for other things? I guess that's my first question.
Right. So, I mean, we find that some of the communities that we serve, I mean, these are folks that haven't had internet access or even a computer, some upwards of 60% of some of the communities that we're in. And we think about take Cuyahoga County, right? Northeast Ohio. So we're building a big internet presence in East Cleveland, and we worked with the housing authority over there for that, along with the government office, and they gave us, we have funds to be able to do that. I don't think we realize, and this is Cleveland, right? I mean, say what you will about
Of course,
Cleveland, but it's not in the middle of
we're
nowhere, right?
Ohio,
It's been
right? We're
around for a
we're
while.
right.
It's 2 hours. It's for me. It's a friend, right? I grew up there actually, and right in my backyard, 40% of these areas that we've located are folks that do not have reliable internet access or can't afford it. And or they have it just simply through the phone. And again, that's a start, but
That is
but
a
what
start,
it's a start.
but it's still
And
hard, and we know
it's
it's hard.
it's
It's
very
hard.
hard. And it's just
Yes, you can toggle, but if your cell phone provider doesn't allow you to toggle, and you're using the data, and the data is expensive, and your bill becomes expensive, then you're in a multitude of other situations. So
so we've partnered with T-Mobile as well to provide mobile hotspots, and that was our first foray into the internet
amazing.
game. And we've given out about 70 to 75,000 mobile hotspots across the United States. And in a lot of these cases, we're using I talked about the affordability connectivity program, right? And that's
Yeah.
and that's is an FCC benefit program. And I spoke about how you can apply to that with some of the requirements earlier. And this benefit provides up to $30 a month toward an internet service for eligible households,
Okay.
and it's 75, I think, for the qualifying tribal lands. But and what we can do is if we charge $15 a month for this price, and we can bundle in a computer to go with it, all of a sudden for your ACP program credit, which a lot of folks don't even realize that they have access to, we can give you a mobile hotspot for your home that has an unlimited amount of data and a device that goes with it to help your entire household, and to get online for opportunities. And again, this is big, right? And we see that getting that internet access, again, a device is nice, and that's how we started our bread and butter of the organization. But we've done the mobile kind of hotspots, and now, as of the last couple years, we're building fixed internet, and that's
So I
fixed
want
wireless internet. So now we're getting
we've
into the
pivoted.
ISP space. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we're adding that because we're using 4G LTE technology, and now we're upgrading to 5G in certain
Yep.
communities. We're talking 5G, 100 upload, 100 download for $15 a month. Like, sign me up,
Yeah,
right?
I know. Hello, can I get that for my house? And so as Jonathan's talking, he's talking obviously about cell phone and wireless capabilities going 5G. Companies are deploying 6G. So could you imagine if you live in a rural area, you're still on that 4G spot? Like
Mm.
that makes it really tough to get data, like to program, for things to upload on your phone. Like, remember you speak, oh, my phone's so slow. Like and remember not every listener understands that, but we're people are pushing what is augmented realities that takes a lot of data, a lot of speed. It's going to be more and more and more, um, and that's why the internet is expanding and developing. But to going back, Jonathan, it sounds like I'm hear you saying that you guys found a need for these PCs, but realized you couldn't do it without the internet. Do you feel like the internet is more of a bigger issue than the PCs now? Because it's funny. I laughed. It's funny because even me, I work at a big corporation. There's highways that I would love to use my. I'm not driving. I'm a passenger, but I would love to use my computer and I can't. And I'm in New Jersey. I'm not in Columbus, Ohio, which you would think should be accessible, and it's just not accessible. So
Mm.
you wonder, why is there not more of an expansion? And so are you guys seeing that that's really a bigger problem?
What we're seeing is that we're able to sustain our business through the recycling through computers, but what we're also seeing is that through counties and housing authorities across the United States, that there is a need to implement internet as a part of some of their either their properties or city limits or county limits. Whether or not it's a political thing that can be used is another thing. But I will say that it's surprising to me that once you dig into the numbers, you find that there are large parts of big counties that are just not, they do not have coverage. And again, we're not looking to do the Verizon map versus the Sprint T-Mobile map of coverage. We're looking
Can
for
you
those
hear me
pockets.
now?
Yes. Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, and so yeah. But we're looking to fill those pockets of need at a low cost. And we have really determined that $15 is that price point that that low income communities need to get signed up and on board. And that's sometimes that's a very daunting number for bigger carriers. And again, they're our friends. We want to work with them. We want to expand this access, but that's the number we need to be at. And that's the number that we see the success with. So between that and if we can do it for free, even better, right? So to answer your question, computers are still a huge need, and I was amazed walking into the facility, seeing lines out the door for computers. And I think you and I and a lot of folks probably listening to this take for granted that. And I would ask you, when's the last when did you first send your email, right? When did you first send your first email? And can you imagine a time when you've never sent an email, and what kind of limiting opportunities that could have for not only you but an entire family? So it's like, whoa, that's a good point, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
I
been a
mean, and it
long
goes,
time.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, even, I think I run my life digitally. I mean, I'm a digital, I mean, honestly, I have, recurring, subscriptions. Like I just have automated my life as much as I could. So for me, it would be very tough. Like I don't know what, I don't know. I would be lost actually. Kind of like, you know, we live our lives on digital functionality, and companies are being built on digital functionality as well. So when you rely on the digital asset so much, either phone or email, I can't live without it. I couldn't imagine just not having it, I guess. I don't know what that's like. In my, I in college, right? I think you and I are both in IT. We solve problems with technology, and that's what it sounds like you guys are doing. But you're expanding this offering so wide. I think, as a listener, everyone wants to know, like, how do you sign up? We understand from, I guess, the customer perspective, right? You have that ACP program,
Hmm.
but as a corporation, how does a corporation get involved? Because to me, I think every corporation should be doing this. I don't know why we're not donating our assets that I mean, we get emails, we have to refresh. I always wondered, where does my computer go? I know they swipe it because it was connected to my Apple account and they send me emails, but I have no idea. Obviously, that's a whole part of our business, right? Refreshing and making sure that we have the latest and greatest devices to work on. But then, what happens to that device? I don't even know. I've seen them clean out offices with switches.
And we take it all,
My
right?
right. So that's another thing, Jonathan. I always have customers say, "Hey, we shipped this," and they don't want it. I've never known what to do with it. I couldn't even give you an answer because I don't think any sales rep that works for a technology company, when a customer says, "Hey, I ordered this by mistake, where should I ship it back to?" We're like, I don't know. And we all kind of look at each other. But I mean, if you're saying that you need all equipment, that definitely opens it up for a much bigger conversation as well.
First of all, right, so thank you for having me on this because it helps get the word out because I hadn't heard about this organization. And then I heard about it and I said, why don't more organizations use these services? I understand that there are recycling folks that give kickbacks to the CIOs and top management for certain assets, and there's a price point. I think what we've seen, and we work with
Like a
thousands.
legitimate kickback, or you're saying like off the book kickback?
No, like a legitimate kickback of like we'll give you a certain percentage or a small amount of every piece of electronic that you give us, right? There,
Okay.
like there
Okay.
are so the for-profit recycling folks, right? Like they will actually and on the bottom line, it makes sense, right? Like if I'm a CIO and I have 2,000 laptops, maybe 5,000 laptops that are 3 years old, and I'm instructed to get rid of it. I'd rather take the $5,000, $10,000 that I'm going to get than do it for free. But first of all, do they offer the sanitization standards that we do? Number one. Number two, are you fulfilling what is it part of your company? Is it part of your ethos? Is it part of your mission to help
Yeah.
low income? And that if it is, let's talk because we can really make a dent in that and we can really show how that makes a dent. And quite honestly, I mean, not just from a PR standpoint, but from an actual like where we're set up in these cities are we're in the low income neighborhoods. That's where our retail locations are. We're in Maryland, Minnesota, Colorado, Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, Georgia. So if you're and I and give you the specific cities, but if you're in these areas, we want to send a truck to you
You want to
in a
partner with
white
us?
in a white glove pickup service that will schedule 1 to 2 weeks out, right? And we'll come to you and we'll do all the paperwork and we'll take all of it off your hands. Very much like I don't want to I don't want to call us a donation because we're not. We offer a service in this. We don't just take your equipment and you don't see it
Right.
again.
And I think
This
that's key is the service piece.
it's a big
Because
key.
if you
Yeah.
had to get rid of something, just like how do you get rid of the trash in your house? You're like, oh, someone's got to come pick it up. Who do I call? Hey, Joe, can you call Sam and tell Sam you got to pick this up, find a box. I need a shipping label. I mean, you've now touched like 6 different people that need to do a job to get the equipment unplugged out of the network or whatever. So I think what Jonathan, you're saying, you're giving a white glove service to take the product off your hands. All you need to do is put it aside and we'll deal with it at that point and give you tracking and give you, if you give QR codes or however, you give us this database to see where that asset is even going the minute you get it in your hands.
Right, and then the turnaround time for this is 14 days from when we touch it, that we have a sanitized hard
Wow.
drive. So fast, right? And again, this is called our ITAD services. It's the IT Asset Disposition Service. So that's what we get. You get the secure transportation and storage, and again, all behind cages and all the time on a video. Comprehensive data sanitization and the physical destruction of remaining assets, all under one roof, all reported to you and all of that. And again, you get to and we love to be we have community events. We drive we drive these trucks we'll have an ice cream truck. We'll go to these communities and they know us, right? They know our name. And I mean it's in our name, right? PCs for people. It's a good name, right? Like, we show we pull up the gate of the truck and we have pallets of professionally refurbished computers, monitors, the
Amazing.
whole shebang, and we give them and we get them into your hands, right? And that's impacting the community, and that's why I joined the organization to begin with.
It's an amazing mission. So, Jonathan, we talked a lot about PCs for people. Tell us what, I want to just dig into your job a little bit. Like what
Uh,
is, I know the problems that you're solving, but what are more of your daily, technology problems, or maybe not even problems, or just, daily technology that you use? Like if you were going to give insight to your job, to someone listening, what do they need to know? And what are you tasked with? What are your challenges?
mm. So I'm fortunate that the organization sort of invested into this sort of VP level of folks. I think so. We're all kind of tasked with different departments as part. So customer service, the wireless internet service provider, and IT, and the relationship with Microsoft and our reselling program kind of goes through me in this particular role.
Oh,
So
nice.
again, it's work. Yeah. So and it's really cool that it was included the customer service end of it, right? Because that I think doesn't get explored enough. We think of IT as sort of an expense. Meanwhile, it's really an investment, and there's a customer service end to it because really at the end of the day, it's not computers that we're dealing with. My our chief innovation officer likes to say, technology is easy, people are hard, right? So and that's
That is true. That is
yeah,
a
yeah,
true
and it's
statement.
all meant in the best of ways because really it's how do we turn this technology into useful data and useful stuff, right? And that's what we're doing. So I think in this role, I've definitely jumped in the trenches quite a bit in my start, and that was the goal, right? I really want to be in there. I mean, we're doing a lot more wireless internet stuff that I have not been traditionally exposed to. I was more of a sort of the infrastructure enterprise level cloud-based type, architect in my
That's
in my
kind of my
previous
role,
role.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
That's all I know. But
And now it's more a little bit more people. I mean, we're a bigger organization. We have
but I
about 200, we have about 240 employees. So it's
wow.
it's a fairly big organization. Well, I would say medium-sized organization. It feels big, just because in the nonprofit world, for me, that's like it's fairly large and a good and national based, right? But
But I think what
yeah,
you're seeing
yeah.
though is like just quickly, you said something interesting and just made me think of it. You're listening to how companies need to take assets and move them off. And you're like, hey, I could solve this with technology, though. I could show you data, and I could make this process easier for you using technology, which is a very like if that is your challenges and you're solving it. To me, you really have a nice continuum, right? You now have built a life cycle management tool into devices that we don't have. Actually, we don't have that process built into our system right now. It's really, I don't even know if I send them a label where that device goes. I couldn't tell you. I'm sure someone knows, but I truly don't know. And it would be cool to say, hey, I donated my computer, it was this much money. And then, that would track back to me and send me, a little bot, hey, your computer went over to, Columbus or your computer. It would be awesome. It would be nice to have the option as an employee, I think. Hey, do you want to
Yeah.
donate your device? Now it's not definitely
Yeah.
my device, but
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
yeah.
we're part of these, sometimes larger organizations that it's sort of like, okay, it's your 3-year time is up, time to flip the equipment, and we
And
don't
that's
think
what
about it
happens.
anymore, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. But
we're
I've
so
just worked on that
excited.
computer for 3 years. I mean, me and
I've
that
got
thing
an
had
emotional connection to it.
we had like many conversations, and like how many times did I get mad at it? And like, this has been a long relationship, and I just have to let it go. And you're like, it's funny because you're like nervous to let it go because now you have to like like organize, you gotta like redo your next computer. Like, no way is this gonna work. Is it gonna take 4 hours, which it does, which is fair. But like you
Hmm.
spend a lot of time with that device.
Right.
It would be nice. It
Yeah.
would be a nice
And especially during the COVID challenges. I mean, we've seen, you talked about
yeah,
computers earlier. I
huge.
mean, this a lot of this expansion came out of COVID. There was a big need for getting this internet access across the United States because of the remote workforce now and getting reliable equipment in. And again, come on, the opportunities that families can have now to work remotely is,
It's
come on,
amazing.
if we had this conversation 3 years ago, it would have been completely different, right? So
Just
I
so we always kind of knew that we could work remote, but
yeah, yeah, no, that's
like
and
it,
that's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah,
Jonathan,
no,
I
you
actually had a router in my house. This is kind of funny. It was from like 6 years ago. I have this router. I still own it. It was so powerful. It would bring down every Wi-Fi connection. Like every device wanted to connect to this one router, and that's how powerful it was. And it would route the traffic. I was like, I have to take this out of here. Like it literally would mess up our whole system. But Cisco really tried to like push this like work from home, and now we have devices, and now it's security. There's all these now layers built in, which makes it a lot easier. But security was a big piece of it, and to that point, companies have solved the security problem. So take advantage of remote work. I just had someone on talking about what employees expect though when they have remote work. Like
hmm
ask for certain devices. Like, you can ask for a certain type of PC. You can ask for
hmm
an Apple device. Like you could go to that level that, hey, I'm comfortable working on. Do you have that type of
hmm
device? I don't think anyone should be afraid of it at all. I think that you should expect certain things if you want to, work remote. It's a luxury. It's a nice thing. If you need that too, you have kids or you need to run around with kids. Everyone has lives. There's a lot on our plate. So,
And anybody can go to pcsrefurbished.com and actually
ooh,
order some of this equipment, today, right? And you'll see
okay.
we sort of set it up good, better, best, and that that might change in the future a little bit, but the point is, the machines that we give out are pretty high quality, and again, most of them are priced. We like to do laptops at 50, 100, 150 for those levels, and you could
Yeah.
sort of add in more memory and that sort of thing.
But you have
But
to be part of this ACP program, correct, to buy the computer, or can you just, as anyone, buy the
no,
computer?
you can go on at any time and do
Oh,
that.
wow.
The
Okay.
ACP program helps with the connectivity part of it and getting that stipend from the FCC and the government to cover your monthly internet costs and also
Amazing.
devices too. So even if you're not part of it, and that's another cool thing, right? For folks that are maybe not a part of that but still have that need, we serve that as well. We don't really want to turn down anyone, and that's maybe a good takeaway of our
That is a
organization
great
as well.
takeaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't we focus on that, but we want to serve everyone that has a need and shows up at our door. We want to make sure they have a computer in their hands. Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, they're expensive. These devices could be, $600, $800, right?
Mm.
And for, maybe a child in high school that is not very familiar with a computer yet, maybe this is a nice entryway to get them just learning, right? And understanding the device, the connectivity, what you could do on it, how you can play on it, how you know, you could run Microsoft programs. I mean, you could get specialized in Microsoft. I mean, we could take this a million different ways. It
So
really it's really endless.
it is. You spoke about children, and if you will entertain me for a minute and a half, I'll
Of
give you
course.
the fun starting story because I think it's worth it. And you can edit this if you'd like, but
No worries.
so
Maybe we should
20.
have started with the story, I feel like.
Maybe so, but so about 24 years ago, right? So we're going back to 1998 in Mankato, Minnesota, right? A small city outside, about an hour out of St. Paul. And in technology terms, that's a long time, right? About 24 years. There was a youth that hacked into the local computer system and gave himself straight A's. Okay, and
I heard about this.
maybe he
I
should have
know this
gone.
story.
Maybe he should have gone for B's because it would have maybe masked it a little bit more. Well, he got caught, and the school didn't think too highly of it. So he was assigned a local social worker, and it was expelled from school. And so the social worker figured that this youth has a strength. Why don't we try to foster that strength in a positive way? So the worker went to the county and asked for an old computer if they could give it to the boy. 3 months later, the boy gets a job programming web pages for churches in the early days of the internet. The county saw the potential of one youth and the power of technology and asked the social worker, do you want all of the old county computers? And the social worker figured he needed to find some people, right, that are good with technology to get all of these devices into homes in the community for the benefit. So our CEO, his name's Casey Sorensen. He happened to be going to Minnesota State University in Mankato at the time and volunteered for 3 years refurbishing computers there with the social worker who's also our
Oh my
co-founder.
God.
So that's the humble beginnings of PCs for People, and over the next two decades, it's turned into a national resource and something that now I'm a part of and is happy. But again, this started very small and with a good idea. And how do we create the business? And kudos to our CEO and Casey for sort of getting all this together. And again,
Yeah.
he I mean, it started with a volunteer and it went into building the entire thing.
It's amazing. Your mission is remarkable. I think everyone should have a PC and internet. I don't see why anyone shouldn't. I think there's just too many programs out there. There's too much to learn and understand. And as our economy and our world is evolving, everyone's relying on these devices. So we shouldn't stop. I think also just another great takeaway is companies should be, reaching out to you. And we'll put that information in the notes. I think that if you're listening and, you feel like you have a bunch of devices that you need to donate, why not get in touch with PCs for People? Why not reach out to Jonathan? I don't know if you would be the best point of contact, but Jonathan can help you navigate, internally who you should talk to, try to implement that processing and what does that look like? And then what are the tax benefits? I think there's just huge benefits all over, especially, if Cisco is listening, and I will make sure they listen to this podcast. I don't think I'm not going to send it to them. And we have a big mission here at Cisco, right? We have give back days. We don't have to, but we give a certain amount of hours and they match it. If we donate our money, they always match it. So any kind of money we raise, if we raise 10,000, Cisco donates 10,000. So this could be a great impact if there's a way that we could drive it down to the rep level. if you could donate your computer and it's worth X money, then Cisco can match it and then you get an asset. It might be a cool idea. Yeah. So we do a lot. We do a lot of give back, and we can choose who we want to work with. So it might be an interesting play, and we can try to fit it in. I know that I'm sure other companies are going to listen to this and reach out. So we'll make sure we put all that information. And if you're even a person that you want a computer, go to their website. But then you could get information about, if you need internet and how does that work. Jonathan, did I summarize everything? Did I leave anything out? Any last words? I was trying to paraphrase everything.
No, that was beautifully done. So thank you,
You're
Danielle, for this
welcome.
for the summary. Yeah, we are excited about that, and we are just, again, if there's an idea out there, or there's a chance for partnership, we're very malleable in the way of how we do things. The great thing about being a nonprofit too is that we have some of the flexibility of sort of, let's figure this out, right? Because of the need for the community, we will do things that maybe other folks can't, just to make
Yeah.
sure that it happens if it ultimately serves who we're looking to serve. So.
And we all have refresh cycles. I mean, how many employees are working at these companies? You're talking hundreds and thousands of people. And we all have the same refresh cycle. Our poor refresh guys that have to send us these crazy emails. Turn in your laptop,
Right.
But, there's a sticker on there, and if you could wipe it and then send it out, might be an interesting scope. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
and again, so we not only, so we give out these computers, and we have a fully, we have over 35 folks that are customer service agents with a less than a 30-second pickup call time. So you call our national
yeah,
number and you get, if you need anything. We also offer $25 computer repairs for anybody. It doesn't have to be our asset. So if you have
amazing.
if you have a computer issue and you're within one of our 9 sites from a retail side, we don't do this
Yeah,
online. We do it physically. Walk in. Why go to the Geek Squad? Come into one of our shops. And it can be virus. It
amazing.
can be my monitor doesn't work anymore. My I have something here, and for $25, we'll take a look at it and we will try to fix it for you and get it back to you. Again, a need of the community. It's not just hand off a computer, see you later. There's a whole digital side of this, of making sure that we support the people that we're in. We're with you in the community is the goal of this. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Jonathan, I think we got a wealth of information. I love the mission. I really do. I think it's amazing, and you're doing such great things. So, um,
I
kudos to
appreciate
you
you
and your
having
company.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, and again, look forward to more opportunities, and just, again, platforms like these are so important. So we're, on behalf of PCs for People, Daniel, we really thank you for all of your efforts in getting the word out and helping with everyone listening as well.
yeah. Thank you, and thank you for being on the show. And if you have updates, or you guys are maybe opening a new location, let me know, and I would love to have you back on and talking more, or maybe we give an example of how this all works. So you never
Awesome.
know. So if there is a good success story that comes from the Motivity podcast, let me know so we can, do a show about it, and we'll really dig
Fantastic.
into it. Yeah. Well, thank you again, Jonathan, and have a wonderful day. Again, this is Danielle with the Motivity podcast, and let's keep talking tech. We're solving a lot of good problems out there, and it's not stopping. So thank you for being on the show today.